Morning everybody. Brilliant day today. Just nice and quiet. You notice how it's getting a wee bit darker in the mornings now. The sun's just beginning to rise. So we're going to talk about 7 ways to take back your power. Now you can really see that the choice is yours, because we've been speaking about this before. Keep in mind that this way of thinking doesn't excuse inappropriate behaviour on the part of others in your life. Morning, Joanna. It simply allows you to have a more satisfying life. Fully taking responsibility for your experience of life is a long process that really requires much practice. It's a journey, remember, it's not a destination. I'm still working on, personally, I'm still working on this every single day. You begin to start to feel better immediately though as a result of that. Morning, Sarah. Morning, Andrea. Morning, Sanjay. How are you? How are you getting on with your run, Sanjay? Fantastic effort you're doing. You're up to £1,000 raised already for charity. That's absolutely brilliant. So the 6 following exercises will help you feel noticeably more powerful in the face of your fears. List all the payoffs that you get from staying stuck in your aspect of life. What don't you have to face? Morning, Francis. What don't you have to do? What comfort do you get? What image do you get a hold of? Be honest with yourself as you possibly can. Morning, Karen. When you're aware of what you're doing, you will automatically discard a lot of the routine robot-like behaviour, and you will lead yourself instead of being led. So secondly, be aware of the options you have during your course of your given day. When you're confronted with a difficult situation, sit down and write in a notebook all the possible ways you can act and feel about it. Close your eyes and picture yourself happy about the whole process, and then sad about it as well, and then outrageous, and then humorous, and then heavy, and then light, and so on and so forth. You begin to see how easy it is to change your point of view in that process that you're doing it. Hence your feelings, and you'll be in control. Each time you're upset, be conscious of the alternatives that we've just discussed available to you. Again, make it a game. In no way will you put yourself down for being upset, and you shouldn't do that at all. This is a process. Don't beat yourself up and don't be too hard on yourself. You're talking to the world's worst for that. It's a great clue to where you should need to be spending your time and taking responsibility again. So start noticing what you say in conversations with friends. See if it includes a lot of complaining about other people. That's a classic, eh? Start seeing what you're saying in conversation with friends and see if it includes a lot of complaining about other people. I bet a lot of us are like that. Such as, would you believe it, Jill was late for dinner again? We had the biggest fight right in the restaurant. If that sounds familiar, see if you can turn around that situation and learn something new about yourself. For example, I noticed when Jill was late, I began to feel really angry. I wonder why I felt that way. I think it's because she doesn't seem to have any respect for my time. On the other hand, part of me likes it. It makes me feel superior, as I always have to gripe about it. So in the notebook, list as many choices available to you as you can, presently upsetting experiences and turning them into positive ones. Andrea. I've got to laugh at that. That's me. Use an example of Jim's lateness. What choices could you make? You could stop meeting with her, arrive late, knowing she will arrive late, bring in some interesting reading material and just relax, knowing that that'll happen. If meeting on time is essential, you could simply tell her that if she's not going to be there in the agreed time, then you really can't wait anymore and there's no reason for your anger, I suppose. The key is not to blame others for you being upset. There's only one person you've got to focus on. If everybody focused on themselves and focused on being the best person we could be, where would we all be in this world? Wow, that's utopia, isn't it? This is not to condone the behaviour of others, but simply not allow it to be the source of your upset. In every situation, there are at least 30 ways to change your point of view. Maybe this is another game, the change your point of view game. Play it with a friend, having a growth buddy. It's very nourishing, remember, having somebody to play this off against. Begin to look at the gifts you have received from what you have always looked at in the bad situation. For example, if you're still hurting from your divorce or your separation, begin to focus on the good things you had during that marriage and the good things that you have to come about as a result of the divorce or the separation. Such as the new friends, the new ways of dealing with money, freedom, less dependency. And number 6, the one that's really tough. Now this is a really tough one. See if you can go for a week without criticising anyone or complaining about anything. I dare you. See if you can go for a week without criticising about anyone or complaining about anything. You'll be surprised how difficult this is. You'll also be surprised to learn how much complaining and criticising you do. By the way, when you ultimately stop putting down other people in your life, it may seem as if you've nothing left to talk about with your friends. Griping and moaning is really a habit and needs to be replaced with something more positive. This takes a bit of time and ingenuity and lateral thinking. But it'll be far more satisfying and joyful in the long run. So here's the ultimate 7 ways to reclaim your power. Avoid casting blame on an external force for your bad feelings about life. Nothing outside yourself can control your thinking or your actions. It's up to you. If it is to be, it's up to me. Avoid blaming yourself for not being in control. You're doing your best you can, and you're on the way to reclaiming your power. Be aware of when and where you are playing the victim role. That's key. Be aware of when and where you're playing the victim role. Learn the clues that tell you that you're not being responsible for what you're being or having or doing or feeling. Familiarise yourself with the biggest enemy, your chatterbox in the back of your head. So use these exercises to replace it with the love and internal friend that you have. Figure out the payoffs that keep you stuck. Paradoxically, once you find them, you'll probably be able to quickly become unstuck. And determine what you want in life and act on it. Stop waiting for someone to give it to you. You'll be waiting a very, very long time. And finally, be aware of the many choices you have in both actions and feelings. In the situation that comes your way, choose the path that contributes to your growth and makes you feel at peace with yourself and ultimately with others. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you tomorrow at 7:30.